let's go. Hi, everyone. My name is Manda, and welcome to Voices of the Fraternity with myself, Manda. And thank you all so much for continuing to watch, for continuing to support, subscribing, liking, and engaging with our content. Today's episode is the last episode of the SAICA or CASA journey. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know you have based on the views. So thank you so much again for that. We have one last guest and judging by how things have been going, it promises to be a good one once again because we don't disappoint. Yes. Subscribe, like, comment, and then follow us on our Apple Podcast and Spotify. In today's episode, we've got Elelwani Mutelo.
No, thank you so much for having me. Interesting, because I simple call myself Elelwani, though CSA is people calling me.
Really?
Yes.
Is it because it's been that long, you've gotten over it, or it's never been a thing?
Shame. It has never been a thing for me.
Wow.
It has never been a thing for me. I think for me, it has always been about the opportunities it opens than the name. So for me, I use the name when I need an opportunity. But otherwise, on a daily basis, simple Ere.
Okay. All right. We've got Ere. Just that. Those of you, okay, some of you may know her, especially if you're in the CASA journey. You would know her. She is the MD at Endunamoo, which is a board course. Is that a correct description?
Interesting.
I'm just a lawyer.
I think to simplify, absolutely, to simplify things, and maybe as simple being a lawyer in a simple legal manner. Yeah. We are a professional program provider. For the simple people who wanna just maybe make it more official, but otherwise we see ourselves as just part of the empowerment people in the CA journey.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's get to know Ere. Who Ere is. Please walk us through where you're from, your family structure, and just your general upbringing. What was it like? What are your most memorable memories?
Ooh, that's a lot. So the best man, I talk a lot when I'm spoken
Is
to.
Is it? Okay, let's go. I like that.
When I'm spoken to. Ere is a girl from many places. So I grew up I was born in Diepkloof. Spent about 5 years there. The 5 years I remember when I was growing up in Diepkloof is ice cream.
Is it the truck or you?
Yes. Right. My mom used to just buy those. So that's the only memory I remember about the place. And then when I started school, went back home in Limpopo. So I'm a Limpopo girl.
Okay.
Went back in Limpopo, stayed with my grannies. Started my grade 1 at a school called Locha Primary School at Mukondeni. Okay. Mukondeni Amashamba. I come from a royal family. Yes, so grew up there. I think I did until standard 1.
I don't know. Please tell us what standard 1 is. Please not even remind us, tell us.
Standard 1 is grade 3. Yes, grade 3. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I think for me, the grade part started to come when I was in grade 10, actually. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, when I was in grade 10. So I've always been in standard until standard 7.
Okay.
Yes. So I did stay with my grandmother there. My mom and dad used to come back in Easters. So Easters were great. Okay. Music, loud music, sweets. Holidays, so they'll come like between those holidays, December, and I think, like I said, until I was in Locha until grade 3, Unfortunately, my mom and my dad separated. Yeah.
Were you an only child?
No, I come from a big family.
Okay.
A very big family. I've got 4 siblings. So I'm the middle child. I'm the middle child. I've got 3 brothers and 1 sister, my oldest sister. So when my mom and dad separated, I moved to Hamasakona. So that's where I spend most of my time at.
Okay.
Moved schools a bit, actually, come to think about it.
Yeah.
Now that you say it. When I got there, I was in standard 2, grade 4. Started at a school called Muvimbi, there at Hamasakona, and I was there until, I can't remember, I think I was there for 2 standards. Standard 2, 3, and then standard 4 and 5, which is until grade 7, right? I went to Masakona primary school. And so, yeah, that's my primary school's life, 3 schools. And then afterwards went to Chingange secondary school, which was interesting because at first I didn't want to go there. I wanted to go to a different school. You like thinking that in order for you to get great opportunities, you needed to go. I think that's when I went to high school was 1998. Yes, 1998. That's when I went to high school, 1998. That's when with times, that's when what we call Model C schools started to come up a bit. And it was that in order for you to get to universities, in order for you to get opportunities, to get bursaries, you need to go to those schools.
Oh, okay.
I've always wanted to do, what do you call this? Commercial subjects. That's what we used to call them when I was still in high school. So I wanted to go to Dimani. So was it Kweba? I think it's Kweba. Yes, it's Kweba. It's in Chisauru. I can't even remember why I didn't end up there. I think the space was full, and disappointed a bit because I was looking forward to being the girl who comes on weekends.
Okay, because it's a distance from where you...
Yes, it's a distance from where I was based. So it was going to be a boarding school. So or I was going to stay closer to there. So I've always seen people coming back from those schools. So I was looking forward to it. It was a bit of a disappointment, but we leave.
Yeah.
And we make the best of what we have. So I actually did finish my high school at Chingange Secondary School, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was an interesting space to be in. And I think I got to grow to be myself. I got to learn a lot about myself. I tested not wanting to attend all the classes, banking classes sometimes. You just get to explore more, to learn about yourself. And for me, I've always been someone to say I wanted to do well at school. My mom is a teacher.
Okay.
So
So she was a teacher based in Deep Clove?
No. She was a teacher now back in Hamasakona at a different school though.
Okay.
So my mom was a teacher. So it was always that you're always seen as that you need to do well. Because when you get home, you've got your mom who will say do school, and then if she was at a primary level, but it was just that thing of saying that whose child would you be if you're not doing well?
Exactly. There's the pressure. Yes, you must represent her well.
You must represent well. But also myself, I've always been self-driven. And I think one of the things which my mom always taught me was that education is a key to anything we want to achieve. So for me, it was also just focusing on that. But of course, as you're growing up as a teenager, as a girl, you do test a couple of things. Like I'm saying that sometimes you'll be like, when they're separating us, to say the people who do science go that side, the people who doing accounting go that side, and then there will be the people who don't want to attend class, they'll go that side. And sometimes you want to see, what are they doing there?
Where are they going?
Where are they going? So you'll test those a bit. But otherwise, overall, I've always wanted to do well, which I did.
Yes.
Which I did for most of my high school. I always came in the top 3.
Nice.
Which was great. Though of course it always gives you that pressure of saying that if you're in the top 3 next time, you also always need to be in the top 3. So you work towards that. But I thoroughly enjoyed my high school. I enjoyed the subjects I was doing. For me, they were more relatable. Business. My grandparents had like a small business, so for me it was sometimes always saying that, oh, this is what it means. Oh, when you're making money, this is what it means. So it always I really enjoyed my high school. I had teachers who were also very encouraging and supporting, especially when they see that, oh no, you seem like you're gonna be you're bright in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I thoroughly enjoyed my high school.
Love.
And for me, I thoroughly enjoyed my high school and just wanting to be the best I could be.
And did life, if you remember, did life change post your parents' separation?
No.
Is it? Things continued.
Yeah, I think I was too young.
Yeah.
I was too young. For me, I think maybe it's because one, maybe I was too young, and I think what the changes were not so significant because I didn't stay with my dad full time. Like I'm saying that he was working the side and I was home. So maybe the dynamics were not that extreme.
Yeah.
But of course, the societal challenges of saying that people will be calling you the one who does not have a dad and stuff like that. But I think for me, I've always been the person who walks their path.
Yeah.
That was their path.
Like,
I have my own path to design. And to a certain extent, if it had any impact on me, was encouraging me. For me, it encouraged me to also note that things are not always going to work out, but then you work the best as you can. And I think my mom actually played a significant role in instilling the positivity in my life because she tried her best to give us the best she can.
Yeah.
She could. And I think growing up, moving, even like now when we moved, she just provided the best. And I think she's just always been for her kids. And for me, so maybe the impact was not significant to me because I'm a girl. And my role model was still here. Which I can look up to. And like I'm saying that my dad it's not like he lived with us on a daily basis. And maybe I was still too young to even understand all the dynamics. But for me, it was just to be grounded. And I think at some point when I was growing up, it seems like it was also almost like a norm. Like,
okay.
even the girl next door did not have a dad. So... what was so special about me?
I hear you. Okay.
So for me, it didn't have a significant impact on me. If any, it was just a drive. And I think just looking at my mom, who is and was my role model then, that was still there.
Yeah.
And for me, maybe it just propelled me to... My mom taught me independence. Maybe it came from that. And maybe, like I'm saying, that the separation, when I was seeing at her, the independence came from that, to say that you need to be independent. You need to, she will tell me that I'm one of the very few teachers from my community. So it actually drove me to be more independent, to be more focused, to be more goal-orientated, to see what I can do best for myself. Yes.
Okay. So when you chose the commercial subjects in high school, did you know what you wanted to become?
No, we chose our subjects, I think, when I was in standard 7. Standard 6, when we went to high school, we're still just doing everything, if I remember well. And when you're in standard 7, you need to choose whether you want to do, I think the options was agriculture, sciences, or commercial subjects. Agriculture for me didn't make sense. Sciences, I was like, it was science and biology. I didn't like biology. So I was like, I loved business economics.
Okay.
So for me, that's what drew me to commercial subjects. I love business economics. So that's what drew me to it. What I wanted to be? No. I did not know what I wanted to be. That got to be more aligned when I got to grade 10, 11. And just checking what what do you do as someone who's doing accounting and business economics and economics? What are the different professions which one gets to hold when you do that? What are the different roles? But for me, the main thing when I was choosing a role, honestly speaking, was economic freedom, financial freedom. What is that? What is that role which I'll get to occupy, and I will be independent and I'll be able to buy everything I want to buy by myself.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just that. And I think as I researched, when you go to town, you'll just get to see that I saw businesses all over. So for me, businesses was accounting.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. And banks, a bank home is banks. Banks, I'll be like, no, I want to do something, but I don't want to be a teller. What are those? And then you'll hear that it's accounting.
Okay.
But chartered accountancy, no. Because I think from the vicinity which I was in, it was not as famous. It was not out there. There was no one to look up to in my community who was a chartered accountant, who I could check their path. So for me, it came just maybe like I'm saying grade 10. And maybe it came in grade 9. Grade 9 is standard 7, right? Yeah,
Yes.
standard 7. In grade 9, we went to a trip. We went to a school trip, which I'm so grateful that we went to it. We went to Cape Town. And when we went to Cape Town, it was my first long trip. I think, we normally would go to Mpepu Resort. We'll go to the surroundings. So when we went to Cape Town, I was excited. And when we went to Cape Town, we went to UCT. And I was like, I want to be here one day. And I think when that happened and I was like commercial subject, and when I was checking what they do, I was like, oh, CA, maybe that's what we could do. And when I went back, CA, they earn a lot of money. I was like, this ticks. You're going to be in Cape Town, which is a holiday destination for the people back home. So for you, it's not going to be a holiday destination. It's going to be school. You're going to be enjoying seeing the views and all of this.
Yeah.
And you're going to complete the CA thing, which seemingly seems to be a prestige profession. And it seems like the position you're going to occupy in terms of work, they're going to be able to take that financial freedom which you're looking forward to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't like asking. So every time when I had to ask my mom for something, to buy me something, it was a challenge.
Yes.
So for me, I was just looking forward to financial freedom.
That financial freedom.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not even going to ask how you chose varsities because you've covered it. It was that school trip.
Yeah, it was a school trip. UCT was a school trip.
So how was the moment of receiving matric results and now preparing to go to UCT?
Interesting. Because matric results come out. The results are not as great as one would have wanted. So all the commercial subjects are great. You've done very well. I think I was even in the top 3 in the Hlanganani Village district, whatever they call district in economics, and which I've always been from grade 10, 11, and 12. Accounting is great. I was always a top student in accounting. Business economics is great, but math is not great.
Sure.
Math is not great. UCT is not accepting the girl. And the girl is devastated, is thinking that, but no, we had not even applied anywhere else, by the way.
This is it.
We had only applied at UCT. And then we check alternatives. There was an option to go to RAU, University of Johannesburg. Yes, RAU. I think then it was used to called RAU. But this is not something we want. Then what do we do? And then we consult to say that, therefore, if one is at this position, what does one do? And an alternative came to say that improve your math in the next year.
Okay.
Not the route one wanted to do. This is derailing my financial freedom.
Yeah.
But we still want to go to UCT. And so 2003, had to take what I call a /gap year / improving our math. And then we did that, did well. So there was that break, which one did not plan on. Had to improve the math /gap year. So improved our math, reapplied to UCT because we can't go anywhere
How
else.
was that year? Were you at home?
No,
What's the community saying?
Yes, and I think one of the things which I learned, or which my mom taught me, is to be focused. The chatter is always going to be there, but then what are you aiming to do? And of course, when you make this decision, it does not make sense. It does not make sense because one, I could still go to any other. I could actually do any other degree, but not this one, which I want to do.
Yeah.
And it comes as a shock because if you're a top student, one expects you to say grade 12, you go straight to do the degree you want to do. And now I have to do this. And for me, it was a challenge. It was a shock on my system. And it was a shock in my system because you pass grade 1 to standard 10 without having any stumbling blocks. You have never failed anything. And now you have this moment which you now need to reflect. But for me, I think it was focused. For me, I was still focused on the mountain.
Yeah.
So I was still focused on the mountain and was just calculating back, okay, we're still going to be there. Maybe when we're 23, 24, we're still going to be able to achieve that. It's a stumbling block, but the route is just took a bit of a stumbling block. Of course, it was not great. Tears did come out to say that, but why?
Yeah.
A couple of maybe blaming to say that maybe it's because of the school I was at, maybe it's because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then you quickly have to refocus to say that, but you're here, then what do you want to do to where you want to get to? So for me, it was just that refocus. And I think I was maybe overly focused on where I want to be than on what has happened. And for me was that, therefore, if you're here, then what do you want to get to be? And of course, like I'm saying that it's not easily understandable because when you say that as an A student, when you come from high school, you go straight to varsity. So having this bridging year, I called it that, bridging year was not traditional. And I think this is where, again, I give credit to my mom to say that even when I was doing this decision of saying that, no, let me go bridge, she was supportive. This chartered accountancy, again, it does not make sense. She does not know what
she doesn't know what it is.
What it is. And it's not like from my side also I can explain it as well because I do not have as much reference to refer to. But all I know is that, mommy, when I finish this thing,
I'll have financial freedom.
You will not, I'll alleviate the pressure on you. And I think one of the things, my mom has always believed in me. So still young, and then she still just believed that if this is what you want to do, then let's go do it. Again, just remember to remain focused in what you want to become. So for me, it was not great. It was not a great year. I could not wait for it to end, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
It was one of the longest year ever. I could not wait for it to end because all I wanted was to start my degree. All I wanted was to study towards being a chartered accountant.
And now it's post the year.
Yes.
You've done well.
Yes, we've done well. We get to UCT. And we get to UCT, I think, because everything was just almost everywhere. I think one of the things which when I got to UCT, got accepted into the degree. And when they sent the acceptance, they said, when I researched, it's a 3-year degree. It's a degree. A degree is 3 years. When I get there, they say 4 years. I was like, when I saw 4 years, I was like, no, you know what? When we get there, we'll talk to them. I think maybe we just losing each other in communication.
Yeah.
I don't know why they've accepted me to this one, but not the one which I'm believing it's supposed to. Because now remember that we're counting the years. That if we're in a 4-year, it's like now the time is moving.
Yeah.
We're no longer aligned, and we get there. And we are in this, what they call it, Chartered Accountancy Development Program. I've never wanted to be boxed or to be grouped from these disadvantaged things. So I've always wanted to say that I am Elelwani and I will thrive wherever you put me. My background does not need to define me.
Sure.
So I get there, they're defining me now.
They're defining you. Like go to a development program.
Yes, you're going to a development program. I remember this woman, and I sat in her office. I think probably by the time we finished, she knew my name because I would go in and say that, but ma'am, it's not making, you explained it to me yesterday to say that I'm in this development program because come from previously disadvantaged, English is third language or second language.
Oh, so that's the reason.
And support and all of that. And she's like, just get through the first year. And for me, I think it's also that part of saying that I struggled the first couple of weeks to say that why am I in the 4-year degree and not a 3-year degree? But reasons that I realized that as I continue to go to an office now and again to say that, you know what, I think you're fighting a losing battle here. Focus on what you can try to win and focus in what you can do and do best at it. I was like, okay, you know what? Now came my moment of, I've always grown to want to also prove wrong. So if you say I can't, you're actually propelling me. And I think some of the upbringing as you're growing up, there's also this limitation which people want to impose on you to say just because you're this, you cannot do this. So for me, then that propelled me to say that it sounds like you're saying that I can't get through this degree without having without stumbling blocks. Hence, I'm cushioned in this 4-year program, but I'm going to showcase that actually I can. And I think in the first year, I was one of the top students in accounting.
Sure.
And I was like, see, I'll go back and say, see, I can do this. But again, the program was already set out. Like some of the semester courses we'll do in that program, they were extended to be a year program. So one could not just easily move around. But for me, now the focus was that finish this in record time. If they say you're going to do it in 4 years, it seems like they say that there's some kind of limitation. Just make sure that you finish it in that period, which I did. And regardless of its difficulties, regardless of, I always say that because of the background one comes from, my mom could not afford the fees at UCT, right? Year in, year out, one needed to fight for nafsas. It was exhausting. Because so some of the things, for example, will be that you need to go and have an affidavit to say that your parents' income is this much, combined parents' income. I was no longer connected to my dad, so I didn't want to go back there. And then now you have to try to explain to other people to say that I can only prove my mom's part. I cannot prove this other person's part because they're no longer involved in your life.
Yeah.
And it was... it seems like when you're moving forward and someone is pulling you back.
Yeah.
I did not like that. So each and every year, and I didn't like the part that each and every year one needed to apply to say that my circumstances has not changed.
Have not changed.
Has not changed. I still need this synopsis.
Yeah.
And for me, but the focus was that I know that this is going to assist me. And I know that my mom cannot afford the university fees. So I need to make sure that I keep my head grounded, and if I need to fight for it, fight for it, because you need to still alleviate the burden, because you'll hear for other people the result's not out because of the financial burden. So prove that you can do that. And then she used to contribute to what we used to call expected financial contribution, EFC. So I needed to every year fight and do well in my grades to make sure that I can still motivate for me still being funded. And I think she did, I was in NAFSAS for the first and the second year. And when I passed well, even in my second year, I think second year is a bit tricky at varsity. Yeah. There is Ecos 2 or 3, and there is Accounts 2, which is a nightmare. And for me was also that they will tell us that in Accounts 2, the class, when you start, there were 2 classes, and they'll tell you that when you get to the final year, it's going to be half the class. But I was like, I'm going to be part of that half the class. I'm going to be part of the hard half the class. And it's that part I think for me, it has always been the focus of saying where you want to get to. And for me was that financial freedom as fast as I can. So was keeping myself grounded, making sure that when you get those different funding, you make the best out of them, because I know that my mom, if she was to get the UCT bill, both the tuition fee and the accommodation fee, there's absolutely no way that she would be able to bridge it. So for me, it was just saying that it's difficult, but then you need to do your part. So I managed to finish. I remember when I passed my accounts 2, I was even now, because I'm in a 4-year program, you can't go to accounts. You can't go do accounts 3. They have this 3rd year where now you do another accounting. And I'll go back a fight to say that, but guys, why can't I do accounts 3? Because I actually passed these accounts 2. So at UCT, they had this level, past it's 50%, right? But they'll say in order for you to continue in the CA stream, you need to have achieved 60%.
Okay.
Right? So I'll even go say that, but there are people who are even still struggling to get that 60%. I was able to achieve the 60% average you want. Why can't I go straight there? But then because of the design of the course, could not go straight there. The hurdles which one needs to just face and then just live with them. So got there, and it's not where we want to be, but then we just need to continue to push. But I think as I continue to push, I think on my 3rd year, got sponsored. I didn't even know. It's when my, you're expecting that, like I'm saying, that on an annual basis, there was NAFSAs and there was expected family contribution, which is what my mom used to contribute. So I'm expecting that, and they're like, it's 0. And I'm like, and I go ask, why is it 0? They're like, no, you receive a scholarship. I was like, I didn't apply for any scholarship. They're like, no, your grades allowed you to get a scholarship. So I was excited, and I was so happy that, financial freedom is getting there.
Yes.
It's getting there because one of the things I've always wanted to alleviate pressure from my mom, because I think on my 3rd year, that's when my younger brother joins me at UCT. So I'm like thinking there's 2 of us. So we need to start, something needs to start giving. And I think that's the year which I also started to work part-time to say that, okay, there's 2 of us. My mom cannot afford to have my younger brother at home, my youngest brother at home, feeding the family, 2 expected financial contribution, still needing to give me money for cosmetics. I was like, the small part which I can do, let me do. So I started doing part-time work, working at the company, they used to call it Loudfire. It does events.
Okay.
Yes, it does events. We'll work from 8 p.m. until 2 p.m. on those events like year-end functions. I think on top of my head, the one which I remember the most, and I was like, I think I want to be somewhere here. It's when we there was a year-end function for ShopRite Checkers there by the farms, and I was like, this is
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. They say they have a year-end function for their employees, as managers from across the country, and they're here for a weekend. I was like, this looks like the life. I want to be here. So I was busy saving the wines to the people. I was like, this seems to be the life. I want to be here. But for me, it was just saving as a motivation, but also part of saying that this is also, I'm seeing myself getting to be that financial freedom. I now will tell my mom, no, you don't have to give me pocket money. Because now I've got this side gig I will do, and she'll be asking me, but what time? Like, don't worry about it. It's just a couple of hours. But then those couple of hours, you can imagine when you work these events, people knock off at, the event will end at 2, and then it's by the farms, UCT is on the other side. You have to travel the other side, get home at around 4. At 6, 7, one needs to be up to make sure that they study, prepare for the tutorials, which used to start at 12 before the class starts at 2. But then you work around that. For me, the aim was that the goal is to becoming a chartered accountant. The goal is to start working and making sure that you finish your degree, you alleviate pressure from your mom, and become an example to others. And because for me, one of the things which I used to see is to say that, sure, I do not have someone to look up to say this is what this journey looks like. And I was saying that it can't be. It cannot be. And for me, and also the part of, like I'm saying that the part of saying that if you come from a certain background, certain positions or certain professions are not for you. Because like I'm saying that when I was going to high school, I believed that if I wanted to be something, I cannot come from this school. And now for me was to say, go back to say to people back home to say that it is possible. I come from the same area. I went to the same schools. You don't need to go to these model school schools. They're great and all, but then you don't need to. We don't need to be pressurized. It's not a need. It's a nice to have. It's a nice to have, and just to say that you just need to continue to remain focused. And for me, I think that kept on propelling me even when you go. The failing of the tests, and you're like, oh, this is so hard. Is it worth it? And then you just have to remember to say that, but you're here because you want to build, you want to have your own financial freedom. You want to alleviate pressure from your mom. You want to be an example to your younger siblings to say this is possible, this is doable. You want to be an example to your community to say this is possible, this is doable. So for me, it was just that part. And just finishing, it was hard. I think undergrad was hard. It was hard, and at some point, as a teenager, I used to, one of the reasons why I chose to be UCT was to be far from home.
Is it?
Yes, to be as far from home as I could. You don't want to be shown ways. I was like, I'll take a break from my mom. I'll take a break from my mom. And but you get homesick.
Yes.
And unfortunately for me, if you get homesick, I could only go home twice a year, in June and in December, because my mom could not afford for me to just, I think in March we close for 2 weeks. So the travel is almost like 2 days, because you travel by bus from Cape Town to Joburg, and then from Joburg to home another bus. So it's almost like 2 days travel. So it means that if I was going home, it's 4 days travel. Then I only get to stay home probably for 3-4 days. So during the Easter holidays, I didn't go home, but I'll miss home. And during the September holidays, again, it's about a week. The travel takes away almost the entire week. So it's that part. Sometimes I'll miss home, and I'll miss those teachings, and I'll miss someone tell me, do your homework, because when you're at varsity, there is no someone else saying, do your homework. True. You got to do your homework.
Independent.
Yeah, independent, which is something which I was looking forward to, but I was like, oh, sometimes today I don't want to feel like it. I wish that my mom was here to tell me, do this and do that. But you keep focused.
Yeah.
You remember why you're there. You remember the goal. So we finished our degree in record time.
Yes.
We're excited about it. We still go back to Miss Pim and say that, see, even if, I promise you, even if you put me through the 3-year degree, I would have finished it in time. Just like,
it's fine.
It's fine. But you're here. You were able to make sure that you finished this on time. And funny enough, when I was on my 3rd year, I thought that when you finish this, we're done. And I hear that, no, there's this thing called Postgraduate Diploma in Accounting, PGDA. And I'm like, another year. I'm ready to go work.
You guys keep on delaying me.
Yes, you guys keep on. I'm ready. And like I'm saying that now, 4 years in Cape Town, like I'm saying that homesick. The Cape Town which I saw when I was still in standard 7, it's not the Cape Town which I'm seeing now. All I see is the building, and all I see is upper campus resident, upper campus. I don't see these nice things. I don't see Robben Island. I don't have money to go to Robben Island. Yeah. I don't see Table Mountain. I don't see going to the beach. I am at school. If I'm not at varsity, I am doing my part-time work. So now this place becomes a stressful place, and I just want to leave. I remember that when I passed, when I was in the final year, realizing that you need to do PGDA or CTA, as widely known. I was like, I can't spend another year here. Like, I'm done. Like, I cannot. Cape Town is not the Cape Town which I thought it is. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. The studying has been a lot. It's far from home. When I have to travel back home, at least then it is eased off. I think that's the time which we started having fly mango. At least then we'll target the times where they had specials, and we'll be like, Mom, bus money for bus, and then she'll give you money for bus, and you top up with about 100 rand or so. Sometimes you didn't even need to top up because when they had specials, you could just fly. So that was nice. By the time I get to my third year, at least we could fly from Cape Town to Joburg and then bus home still. But at least it's no longer the 18 hours bus.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done. I don't want to be in Cape Town anymore. It's far from home. All I know here is pain of studying and failing, studying and failing. There's nothing great which is coming out of here. And I was like, maybe I want to do my CTA elsewhere. So applied I applied at Wits. That's the only place which I thought I could do. And what happened? I think I received either they delayed with the response or it was rejection. And then as I was applying for Wits, and in my third year, as I was saying, I had also applied for other bursaries to say that now you're doing your postgrad. This sponsorship, I don't know how long it's going to go because it was just almost like a university sponsor.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, now when you go to this GDA, I've now researched, understood what happens after your GDA. You're going to have to go do articles. I was like, great. And then other firms comes to just present to us as third years to say, come work with us, work for us, we'll sponsor you. And then Ernst & Young sponsored my GDA. Or gave me the sponsorship letter to say that we want to sponsor you for your GDA. And I was like, oh, I've got a sponsorship for EY here at UCT. We might as well just finish. Might as well just finish. One more year push.
Yeah.
Which became and as you can imagine, I already had made my mind that 4 years in Cape Town was already a lot. I needed to leave, but then that extra year needed to be done. This GDA year, which for me at some point I was like, is it necessary? Do we need to? I always hear people that after the degree they go work. Why can't we also go work? Because remember that on top of my mind is the coins.
Yes.
I need the money. I need the money. Yes, now I've gotten to a certain level of financial freedom that my mom does not need to give me pocket money. She gives me as and when she wills to do so. I want her to just focus on my other siblings. And for me, it was like, okay, you know what? We've got the sponsorship. Let's push. We write this April test. So GDA is a 1-year program, but they tell us that you need to qualify to stay in a 1-year program.
Okay.
Yes. And like, okay, how do you qualify? Okay, first, yes, to be accepted in the program again, they have got averages. I think you need to have an average of about 55%. If not, you're out of UCT. I meet the 55, we're in. And they're like, it's to stay in the 1-year program, you need to qualify through writing your April and June results. And I'm like, it's hurdles after another hurdle. It's just a lot. And I'm like, April test, woo! The results are terrible. I think that was the first year I cried in public. Like, they have them in student numbers. No one knows.
Yes.
Whether you've passed or a day has passed. We just see by the emotions. So yeah, this one is on the other side. Because I'm thinking that I can't afford to go in a 2-year program. No, I just cannot. It's too long. I need to start working. I need to start being fully financially independent. And the results are saying otherwise.
Yeah.
Because with these results, which we're having, we're going to be in a 2-year program.
Sure.
And if we're not in a 2-year program, it means that we failed this year. And then we're going to, even if we're to look for another institution, it's almost like a 2-year program. Because the year has started and we're here. I remember just crying through the stairs. The stairs were a lot. I could not wait to get to the shuttle stops to get the bus to go home. And I remember this other person, they're like, are you fine? And I'm like, it's the cost. It's the cost. Never mind me, it's the cost. And I just sitting there and saying that. And the thing is that it was so difficult for me to also engage with my mom or my siblings about failing because it's not something common. And for me, I've always seen them as that they're looking up to me.
Yes. So you must pass, you must excel.
I must pass,
you're
I
the
must
golden
excel.
child.
Yes. And I just remember saying that, you know what, the grace of God which took you out of Hamasakona and put you back in this university, which is a dream for many people, will carry you through this. You just need to remember to stay grounded and focused.
Yeah.
This is just a speed hump. It's a test. You still have an opportunity of making sure that come June, you are doing best. And now I'm so scared because they say it's progressive. So April, you're writing whatever the topics you've covered between Jan and April. You failed April. And they say June is going to be the topics you've covered between Jan and June.
Yeah.
So it's an addition. And I was like, you know what? It means that we just have to study more. And we just need to balance also doing this side hustle and studying. And it was just for me, that part, remain focused, make sure that you study more. And for me, I think one of the area which I've always continuously learned through my journey is that do not be swayed by the crowd. Just because everyone is doing that,
yeah,
you do not know what time they're doing what they're doing. And for me, that's one of the things which kept me grounded, even when I was at varsity, to say that you need to study. If you see Manda gallivanting, you don't know where she's getting her extra strength to study and stuff like that. And I remember saying that this June test, I just have to pass. And I passed. And I was like, oh, yay, thank God we're still in the one-year program. Next year we're working. And that was CTA, past first attempt, which I thought it was almost impossible. It was almost an impossible year because it was a year which one will fail, question themselves, why did you have to? Sometimes I'll even go back to say that, but you could have just done that other degree in whatever. You could have saved yourself 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
But for me was that this is what you have always wanted to be. It may not be as linear as you'd have wanted to be, but we keep on pushing. We keep on pushing. And we remember why we are here. We want to be a CA. We wanted to be this CA. Yes, we didn't research how we researched the end.
Yes.
And if
how do you get there?
How you get there is something else. So we have to just bear with the consequences of the process and trust the process and show up when we need to show up.
Yeah. We're running out of time. But we still want to talk.
Cool. Sure.
I'll find a way to cover this time. But I think it's probably because you've had a longer journey, not
education
in that,
journey.
Not in the sense that you're not passing record time, but you've been around since since back in the days.
Yes.
And for the viewers and the listeners at home, I think this is what happens when you interview older people, because their life has been longer.
She calls me older.
More matured people.
We love that one. Yes, more matured people.
When you interview gracefully matured people, the interview will be longer because there's a lot to cover. So please bear with us. Yes. I saw on your LinkedIn, you had EY and then you had National Treasury.
EY sponsored us, remember?
Yes.
We go to EY first year. We have not always, I don't know who did, but grace to them who loved auditing, right?
Yeah.
Even as a subject. We've never loved auditing as a subject, but EY sponsored us. We go there. It's one of the big four. Excited about joining them. The induction goes well. Happy about it. The first couple of weeks, I've always been the person who does not like sitting and not doing much. The first couple of weeks are idle, not allocated to a client. Did not like it. Not a bit. Did not like it, not a bit. I think I was 2 weeks not idle. And then people are like, no, you're going to get allocated. I was like, but these 2 weeks, in those first 2 weeks of being idle, I was like, I can't.
Yo.
I looked for a job. I looked forward to change from from there. So, and then when I checked, it was in March, it was in March, Feb or March. And when I checked with other training programs, they're like, unfortunately, we're no longer taking because we take at the beginning of the year. I was like, okay, it's fine. But we're just going to keep an eye for it. So I actually thoroughly enjoyed, we'd already made our mind that we're leaving because the idling and the work does not work for me.
There was lack of consistency.
Yes. But by the time I was about to leave, I was even already allocated to this client who was going to be more consistent because it was a bigger client. It had quarter ends. We need to audit quarter ends. So you can imagine it already had a lot. And it was a new client for EY. And I got to learn a lot. So I went to a first client and loved it. We're doing fixed asset and cash and bank. It's not like it that much because it was not challenging. On the second client, which I went to, the one which I was saying that it was actually starting to look brighter, was I get to do revenue. I hear that first years don't do revenue, but because it was a new client and everyone else was learning, I got to do revenue and receivables, and which is something which I got to brag when I get back to the office to say, hey, I do revenue. And it was a bit complicated client. They were in what one would say is telecoms. But then when I got there, I realized they just don't do telecoms. They do much bigger than that. They don't do only electronics. They do much bigger than that, which I got to enjoy. And I enjoyed just doing the more sophisticated areas, which as a first year one would not normally do. But I think still, for me, I just did not like audit as a whole. And I loved, as a subject back to school, I always loved financial management. So I was like, let me look somewhere else. And then we used to call it tip and top. I was like, I want to do top articles. That's where I ended at National Treasury.
Okay. And how different is National Treasury from an EY? What are the what are you doing at National Treasury that EY is not doing for those that may?
No. The major difference really is just that when you're doing articles in an audit firm, you focus on audit, but while you're doing articles in financial services, because that's what National Treasury is, it's in finance. Is that I had to do a wider range of experience. I moved from financial accounting to management accounting to budgeting to reviewing different SOEs. So the exposure was for me more vast and not limited to just auditing. Auditing, I will do more internal auditing than external auditing, which is what I was doing at EY. So for me, it also aligned with what I liked, having to do understanding different SOEs, their strategies, how some of the strategies needs to be revamped, restructuring. So I got to do SABC. I got to do when I was in this asset and liability area, I got to do the water boards. I loved it. I got to be allocated to energy. You'll do NEXA, NERSA, you'll do all these different SOEs within the sector. You'll do them from the strategic perspective, budgeting, and on the other side, when I go to the other division, I'll now be doing the financial review reporting. So it was I loved it. I loved National Treasury.
Yeah.
I loved the different perspective, the different experience which I got from the different sector and the different disciplines. Either being now today I'm doing like I'm saying, we'll do retail bonds and stuff like that. For me, that was interesting. So I got to enjoy it and love that.
And I've had two guests who also did top, and they always say that it's a smaller group. Is it the same with National Treasury?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's much smaller. I think probably now the program might have grown, because when I went there, I think we were the third intake for National Treasury to do the training, to do the articles. Because when I got there was actually only 3, if not 4 of us actually. But it was 4 of us. 2 of us, me and my other colleague, were based in National Treasury, the head office. The other person was based in National Treasury in Durban, and the other one was based in city of Joburg. So can you imagine? It's just the 2 of us for that year. And then previously, I think they had, the previous year, I think they had 5. So in total, in terms of the training, in my year at the head office, it was 2 of us. And then there were about only 4 seniors. So as I'm saying that, I think that was the 3rd year, which they did the intake. It's small. And I think one of the things which is a bit different, and depending on the different firms or different companies, is that you also get to kind of tailor make your own training. That you get to a division, you get to almost tailor make it to say that when you have a view of the entire organization or the entire National Treasury, to say that this division does this division does this division does this. So you drive you getting those competencies.
Sure.
So I love that now I get to drive. If I get to finish this competency as fast as I can, I move to the next one and stuff like that. If I enjoyed something, I could stay a bit longer at that division. So yeah, I got to enjoy it. I got to enjoy the moving from different divisions and the learnings for different divisions, and the secondment sometimes to other SOEs or the secondment to other departments.
Nice. And were you shocked when you found out you had the additional exams?
Yes, and the additional exams. Board one was not. I think maybe based on the background and the perception is that they will tell you, if you're coming from UCT, board 1, you need not to worry about it. It's a walk in the park. And which was a walk in the park. And then now, board 2, then they used to call, there was the one for audit people, and there was the one for the audit one. I forgot what it was called because I didn't write it, right? So remember, 1 year did my articles at EY, which is audit. 2nd year, I'm doing it with National Treasury. So you need to do your second board after you have 20 months of training. So now there's an issue of saying that you've got 1 year in audit and 2nd year in, let's call it finance.
Yeah.
In finance. So you write FQE 2, which is the final qualifying exam, which is different from audit. Me being me, again, I was, Psycha is like, no, you can't write this year. I was like, no, no way. No way. We are not writing, we are writing. And I'm like, why can't I write? Your experience is not aligned to the exam you want to write currently.
Sure.
Because now you have to write FQE. And I think they wrote, the audit one. And I was like, no, but then there were some of the lessons which I have learned there, which I can bring this side. It's just a different perspective. Finally won the battle. And we go right and we fail.
It's like I told you.
And the thing is that now it's actually the first time when one fails. Like, because I've never failed, like a total fail. Now it's the first time one fails. I do not believe this. I actually asked for my script to say there's absolutely no way in hell that I have failed. And I have always been working hard towards passing. When we were at National Treasury, we had a group of trainees, which we will meet almost on weekends to study. And I had been putting the time. I had been putting the time at work. As I'm doing my work, those competencies, I'm not taking them for the sake of taking. It's because I fully understand what's happening. We're hard workers. I'm a hard worker. I used to always just joke with the people we're with to say that I'm a hard worker, you guys are smart. So I'm saying that I've put in the time, and I could not believe that I failed. And when I got my script, I failed by a margin. And it was shocking. And for me, I take that moment as a moment of God humbling me. Because I think at some point we lose that part of saying that, the Bible says that who are you to boast of what you have as though it was not given to you?
Sure.
So I think sometimes along the line when things are going well, we forget that it is God who has given us the ability to think. So I think as we go, you're like, oh, I'm going to be the first CA in my community. I'm doing this. And we forget those. Yes, when you're going varsity, I think CTA humbles you. You'll be praying every day because you realize... Because you realize that by myself, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But I think as we continue to grow... we forget those lessons. We forget that we are able to do because God enables us. And for me, I saw that because when I was looking at my script, looking at the marks, the first marker gives me a certain mark. The second marker gave me the second mark, this mark. And if they had aligned, I think I would have just made it. Which is those who are in the who have done CA, they at some point all you want is a 50. At some point, all you want is a 50.
Forget about the high marks.
Yes, you forget about the high marks. So for me, it was painful. Everyone in my circle had done well. People who had came up with from UCT, my now husband, and was in the top 10. And I'm like, how? I study with these people. They're in the top 10 and I have actually failed. Yeah. So it was challenging. But I think for me, one, that was a humbling moment and just a reminder to always remember that everything I have and everywhere I have been is not because of my own powers. My mom is used to have the midnight prayers to pray to make sure that we get to where we are. God's covering, traveling all the way from Hamasakona to Cape Town and still keeping your head down. It's not because we're smart.
Sure.
And it's not because we continuously to make smart decisions, but it's because God is there to guide us.
True.
Even though we don't see it.
True.
So for me, I saw it as that. But one of the things which I did in that year, though I had failed by a margin, I told myself that we're going to start from scratch. Like, yes, you failed by this margin, but that's from scratch. And which is what I did. Started from scratch, sought help, tutoring, started from scratch. And the following year we passed.
Nice.
And now, like I always tell people, it does not matter whether it took you 7 years or 8 years or 9 years or 10 years. We are now a chartered accountant.
You're a chartered accountant.
Yes, we're a chartered accountant. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to wrap it up, you and your husband now co-find
English.
You go and create this baby called Endunamoo. I imagine you went somewhere after National Treasury and but I think what you guys are doing now is very important. Especially in now as we close the CASA journey route, to have someone who is now lifting people up. Like, guys, this is how we going to pass.
Absolutely.
So can you just briefly let us know how that idea came about to start Endunamoo, and what does Endunamoo do? How is Endunamoo different? What's that value proposition for Endunamoo?
I'm gonna fast forward it. Endunamoo was founded in 2013. The main reason why Endunamoo exists is to fulfill a need, to say that we need to bridge a gap. There aren't as many Black chartered accountants out there, and it really started from saying that as we became chartered accountants, we also saw others who were struggling in their journey. It started as just merely tutoring and then supporting distance learning candidates. And the feedback we got after that is, okay, you've assisted me in passing my CTA, but then now when I had to do a board course, where do I go? Because you're the one who helped me to get here. And that's when the board course was born. First being the then ITC, then now IAC. Changed, and then that's when even the accreditation proposal, when we got accredited by SAICA in 2020 came about, to say that it's for us just to complete the journey, to say that there are those who are coming behind us who would want us to, how do we contribute to helping the next person to become a chartered accountant? How do we contribute with what we have and our lessons and our skills to make sure that we pick someone else in the journey? The value proposition for us, it's really simple. For us is to say that we understand that the journey is not linear for everyone.
Yeah.
And we also understand that not everyone will be able to pass at a particular point in time. But what we do differently is that, and which is what we have learned over a period of time, is to say that Manda's journey and Aaron's journey are going to be different. How then do we cater for these two different individuals? So one of the biggest value proposition we have is that we take a candidate based on their personalized journey, and we will help them as Manda, not as everyone.
It's not a mass production.
Nope.
It's tailored for.
We tailor our program. When you engage with our program, you'll see it's more personalized and we're hands-on. If, for example, anyone else wants to talk to, I'll start with my bigger bosses.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to my bigger boss, which is the academic heads, Rendani or Fedi, you can reach them on WhatsApp. We're accessible.
Yeah.
Because we understand that this is now, it's not from there. We are here on the ground. We are hands-on. We are here for you. We want to listen to what your journey is like. We want to listen to where the challenges which you are encountering, and we want to see how we can assist you in making sure that we bridge that gap to assist you to become a chartered accountant.
Sure. And how is it working with your husband, being a wife, dividing the roles? If there is a division.
The division is necessary. Of course, I think for me it's about planning and understanding different roles and knowing when to stop at certain roles. That when we're at work, we are partners. We are partners, and we assume our different roles, and we need to make sure that we execute our different roles. And we need to enable each other in executing those roles because we're part of management. We work together. And it's just that. And for me as a wife, I'm a child of God.
Yeah.
So my view of being as what a wife is comes from a biblical point of view, and also maybe comes also from experience. For me, I think maybe that's how God has just wired me. If it's not a revelation to the next person, it's totally fine. For me, my husband is the head of the house.
Yeah.
I am the wife. And it's as simple as that. And when I'm at home, I am a wife. I am a mother of 2 beautiful kids.
Nice.
And and there are, one is to know that this is where the work starts. And it of course, it's difficult. I always say that sometimes when you're working from home, we have to step out because our home is also our office.
Yeah.
You have to step out of the office to say that let's leave the office there. And we have to be intentional in doing it and communicating how you have to manage it. And understand that part of saying that how do you also just balance those. But I think communication is the biggest part, but also assuming the relevant responsibility at a point in time is also important.
Yeah. Okay. So if I was to wrap up Endunamoo, you guys offer support at CTA level, IAC, APC, and then there are these new abbreviations I've been seeing.
Oh yes, our new
LinkedIn.
baby, our newest baby, which it also excites me, is for us. We like I'm saying that actually, if you're to think in Endunamoo, think about a need. We are here to meet a need. So one of the things which we have realized is that with these different pathways, that you see that there are people who coming, for example, in South Africa or from a SAICA perspective, if you're a CIMA professional, you're qualified chartered global management accountant. Let me say it. They
will help us.
Help us. Yes. If you're a chartered global management accountant, is that there are pathway agreements with SAICA that you can just write one board exam and you become a chartered accountant. Right.
Okay.
But we've realized that, you know what, it's not as linear. It is not. It might, because now you're assuming the far end of the things, while a traditional route has given the foundations and certain skills for one to go write that final board. One need to go through a degree, as you would have experienced over the past couple of episodes you've been having with chartered accountants. This thing is difficult. They've gone through the CTA, which is a nightmare. They've written the first board, which builds the technical skills. The last board is now applying the technical skills professionally. Right? So when they come through on the last part, we have noted that the people who have gone through, like I'm saying that from a South African perspective, it will be CIMA, CGMAs, and then from, we also accredited in ZIM.
Okay, yes. Nice.
Yes,
well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. So from a ZIM perspective, the ACA is both ACA and CIMA. So they come from different background, but we have realized that one of the gap, and I say gap because it can be filled. One of the gap which these professionals face is technical skills, the standards, the accounting standards, the tax legislations, the auditing standards, the different governance rules. They don't have those. So that's where this new abbreviations which you have came across have come about. We have a program called APC Bridging Course. What it does is to say that we understand that when you're coming from those different professional background, you may not have these technical skills. Let's help you bridge them so that you do not waste your time with going through the APC program.
Sure.
Not to make it. Because the assumption is that when you're at APC, these foundational technical skills are embedded in you, but they may not be. So that's when our APC bridging course came through. There is for CIMA professionals and ACA professionals.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys are really doing well.
Thank you so much.
We are proud of you guys.
No, thank you so much. You make us to be who we are. It's really the people who make us to be who we are.
Thank you so much for honoring this invite and for planting a seed in this podcast.
No, thank you very much for the invite.
Yes.
Truly appreciate it.
To those that are at home, in your car, at the office, I don't know where. Thank you so much for listening and thank you so much for watching. I hope there is something that you will take home with you. And please continue to share this episode and those that we shot previously. Like, comment, and
subscribe. Please subscribe.
I'm not, you know what? Thank you for your subscriptions. I'm not yet at a point where I plead for subscriptions because you guys, your support has really been great and amazing. But if you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. We are growing a community here and we're really building a hub of stories that one can always go to for motivation, for hope and inspiration. So help us build that community by sharing, by subscribing, and letting your friend and your family members know. From my side, see you in the next series. It's a wrap. Bye. Thanks.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much.